Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews and to my Best Books of 2021 video, or maybe I think that's what I'm going to call it. Basically, as you will know if you watched my Worst Books of 2021 video last year, I'm filming this in 2021, it's fine. I didn't write down what I read for a good 3 months. Smart decisions were made. So there may be some things I've missed, there may be some things I've forgotten. I went through everything I read on NetGalley. I went through these shelves, which is where most of the new releases have been placed. Oh, The Broken God! Do I want to put that on this list? I think I'm going to wait till that series is done. Because, yes. Okay, it's fine. See, I keep thinking of other things. This is not a definitive list. This is some of the best books that I read in 2021. And I am going to tier rank all of the 2021 releases. That video is coming in a couple of weeks, I think. So if there's things missing, it might end up on that list. It's fine. I just want to talk about some books that I enjoyed. Honestly, did I script this? No. Is this going to be as chaotic as my least favourite books? Probably. Let's start with the two that I actually read last year. And I think they were on last year's list, but I'm putting them on this year's list as well because they were this year releases. We'll talk about them very quickly. The Galaxy and the Ground Within. Can you remember the time when this book released? It feels like an age ago, certainly for me. Absolutely fantastic fourth book in the Wayfarers series. Bunch of different species get kind of stuck at an international, that's not the word I'm looking for, interstellar rest stop. They get trapped there. Events ensue. Wholesome, slice of life sci-fi, absolutely fantastic. Gonna start a stack. The other book that I read last year that came out this year was A Master of Djinn by P. Djeli Clark. This is a alternate 1900s, I believe, might be 1800s, I think it's 1900s Cairo. Wonderful follow-on from their short story and novella, Dead Djinn in Cairo, and I nearly said a tramcar named Desire. That's not what it is. The Haunting of Tramcar 015. That's what that is. This is a fantastic detective story. Fair warning, I know people who've read this and basically people have either gone, this was amazing, or I really didn't like this. And one person who really didn't like the short stories actually really enjoyed this book, so make of that what you will. I personally found it very enjoyable, and I talked about it last year, so I shan't waffle on. I shall, however, waffle on with the rest of this list. To make editing Judith's life a little bit easier, I'm going to talk about the books that I do not have physical copies of them so that she can put the covers up on screen. One is This Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron. This was not a sequel, but was her next book after Cinderella is Dead. I loved Cinderella is Dead. I loved this even more. We have Briseis, who is a girl who has power to make plants grow and thrive. Basically a lot of plant-based powers going on, who inherits a large castle. I'm gonna go with large house in a small town, moves out there. Things ensue related to her birth mother. It's a really good story. I'm very excited for the follow-up, which happens next year. This was just a really strong book overall. There's not oodles of YA on this list, but the YA that is on this list is a great time. And the other book, which I do not have a physical copy of because I just want to own them all. I'm just going to go on the biggest book buying spree. This is Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. This is the final book in the whole of the Realm of the Elderlings, as far as I'm aware. And it broke my heart into 1,000 million tiny pieces, and it was just the conclusion of that series. I had a wonderful time listening to the audiobook. Can I bring myself to do it again? No, I'm not going to go through that again. It was a lot. One day I will do a reread, but I think I'm going to give myself a year off Robin Hobb just to process my emotions. It's so good. I appreciate that. If you haven't read any of the other books, this is not where you should start by any stretch of the imagination, and I read them in a weird order, but just absolutely fantastic. Loved it. Yes. Right, now I can work through the stack. Some of these are sequels. A fair few of these are sequels. It's fine. The Wisdom of Crowds, I did a whole reading vlog on this whole series, in fact. Little Hatred, Trouble with Peace, Wisdom of Crowds. I just really like the series overall. I thought this is a wonderful conclusion. This is in Joe Abercrombie's... what's the world called? I'm not sure, but the same world as his original trilogy, except that it's set at kind of the Industrial Revolution point, and it's just so well written. I loved what happened with all of the characters in this. I had a really great time with it. You wouldn't know that if you watched my vlog because all I did was criticise it. But I did actually really enjoy this book. And I'm actually going to put it back where it belongs because I like seeing them together. But yes, if you would like a good trilogy to get your teeth stuck into, you should watch my review because I talk about whether I think you need to read the original series or not. But yes, it's great. Nearly forgot to put this on the list, but The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik. Now, a lot of very valid criticism of this series, The Scholomance, has come up. I do have a full video scripted for this, and I was going to get into dark academia, and it was going to be a great time. And then the sewing project I was going to do alongside it really went awry. I will talk about this at some point. I think I'm going to wait till the series is either further along or done, and then we'll have a good chat about this. But yes, if you were wondering what my thoughts were on the sequel, I really enjoyed this. I found it really compelling. It's such a cliffhanger ending, which is really, really annoying. but it's very, very enjoyable to read. I had a great time. Whizzed through it in about an afternoon. I know I said I would make a stack, but some of these have places where they belong. Probably the most outlying book on this list. I think this is like the only sci-fi thriller that I've read ever, maybe? This is The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey. It's absolutely fantastic. If you want something Black Mirror-esque, this is great. If you, like me, cannot abide Black Mirror and just went, that doesn't seem like it would be for me, Sarah Gailey's writing is just so wonderful. I feel like this would be a really good gateway into thrillers. Maybe. Could somebody who's read more thrillers let me know? I had a wonderful time with this. I will now pretty much buy and read everything Sarah Gailey publishes. She could publish, I don't know, what genre really wouldn't I read? I can't think of a genre I wouldn't read, but she could publish it and I would read it. YA contemporary, there you go. Oh, I should probably tell you what it was about. That would help. This is about a woman, Evelyn, who... It's really hard not to give away the plot. Her husband leaves her. She's a scientist working on cloning, and her husband leaves her for a younger woman, except that that woman is a clone of her. Definitely. And it's sort of more than that. And I don't want to give too much away because I really enjoyed reading this not knowing what was going on and not really knowing what the plot was. And I'm just not going to ruin it for you, but it's a great time. Because my review for these will have been up already, let's talk about The Mascaras and The Liar's Knot, because who remembers that these came out this year? Who writes two chunky fantasies in the same year? M.A. Carrick, what are you doing? These were both absolutely fantastic. They're one of my favourite series that is currently ongoing. Loved it. Really excited for the third one. Have reviews up for both of them, so not going to waffle for too long. But yes, dark fantasy, but like think ball gowns and parties and conspiracy and con artistry, that kind of thing. It's a great time. I haven't worked out where these go yet, so they can go in the stack. Hooray for the stack. The second Becky Chambers on this list, Psalm for the Wild Built. I do have a review up for this, so again, won't waffle too much, but just a really good book for not knowing where you are in life and not knowing if you have a purpose and exploring those ideas. The second one is out next year. I'm going to read it and cry, and I'm looking forward to it. How many of these can I say I'm looking forward to the next one? It made me cry. A fair few. Little Thieves by Margaret Owen also has a dedicated review up. I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. This is one of those select YA books that have made it through the year. I believe this is YA. Arguably crossover, but it reads YA. And it's fantastic. Again, con artistry being turned into precious gems in a creepy, horrifying kind of way. Queer norm world. Loved it. Had a great time. Why do I keep looking at the list? I could just use the stack. Jade Legacy, I have a full reading vlog out for this. When I'm filming this, it's just gone up on the wrong day. Never mind. Again, just talking conclusions to trilogies, they've been really hitting home this year. There's been some great ones. I love this from start to finish. Book 1 is amazing, Book 2 is amazing. Book 3 is utterly fantastic, sticks to the landing. I wept. I felt like I went through an emotional blender. It's such a wonderful time. If you want a fantasy novel, but it's also sort of modern fantasy, it's in a world... I don't know how to describe it. I try and remember how they describe it in the first one. An epic drama reminiscent of the best classic Hong Kong gangster films, but taking place in a fantasy metropolis so gritty and well imagined that you'll forget you're reading a book. Thank you, Ken. That is what this series is like, and it's like that all the way through to the end. She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This has been in my background for a very long time. I love it so much. It's such a good story. Alternate history. A glorious retelling of the rise of the Ming Dynasty's first emperor. And it's just fantastic, and it deals with a lot of interesting gender discussion in it, and just, great alternate history. I don't read enough alternate history, and I should read more. Maybe I can persuade Space Sirens we should read some more. Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. I put this on my wish list on an Angela recommendation, and I think I got given it either for Christmas or my birthday. Wasn't thinking much of it. Absolutely loved it. Con artists have really been a theme of this year, but that's another thing that features in this. And plucky thieves, I just love them. One thing I really love about this is the magic system. I think it's really cool. I think it would work really well in a LARP setting. I think that would be really good fun. I haven't made a review video of this because I want to read the sequel, and I might pair them up and do it that way. Yes, fantastic. I will get around to the sequel at some point next year. More Sarah Gailey? I'd forgotten I read this year. It feels like an age ago. Like, I moved house this year, so everything feels like it was 2 years ago. American Hippo. This is a bind-up of Sarah Gailey's 2 novellas, River of Teeth and Taste of Marrow, imagining an alternate America, again alternate history, where instead of farming cows or cattle, we farm, I don't live in America, they farm hippos, and we have like hippo cowboys, and it's just fantastic. Again, queer norm world. Had a great time with it. Loved it greatly. Sarah Gailey could write a shopping list and I'd be like, oh my goodness, give me the hardback deluxe edition, please. Thank you. Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. This is the ARC cover. The actual cover looks like this. Sorry, editing Judith. There's one more I've just remembered you need to put in as well. This is a gorgeous MLM romance. It's just lovely, and space and healing from trauma and past relationships being bad, and I adored it, and I would recommend it and have a review video up for it that you can go and watch if you're interested. That is kind of the nice part about best book lists, is that most of these I have filmed videos for, whereas my worst lists, I have not thought about it. I've just put those out of my mind and I didn't want to. Whereas now I can push you towards reading lists. That book I forgot to mention is A Marvelous Light, which I read because Asha gave me her review copy, so I do not have it, but I would quite like to own it. It's another lovely MLM romance, except in an alternate UK, I think? I don't know. Someone becomes the kind of like liaison with the magical world who wasn't expecting to, and it's just lovely. I really enjoyed it. Like kind of that escapism feeling. Fully immersed myself in that book, read it in about a day. And lastly, but this is in no particular order, so don't take this as being my best book of the year, but it is way up there. This is A Desolation Called Peace by Arcady Martine. I read this as a buddy read with Angela and we just had the best time. Thinking back to sending Angela like 10-minute long voice memos about my feelings on this book, simpler times, a good time. This is an absolutely fantastic sequel. I'm really excited. I believe there are meant to be novellas in this world, and I'm looking forward to reading them. But this is fantastic. I do think I have a review up for it. I'm pretty sure I do. Thank you, past Judith. Thank you. And thank you, future Judith, to me for putting all those links in. They will probably actually be in the description because I think I've run out of cards. So yes, that is a lot of my favourite books from 2021. It's certainly not all of them. I'm sure there are more on these shelves. Like I didn't even talk about Bone Shard Emperor, but I really love Bone Shard Emperor. I'm thinking a lot of this is going to come up in my tier ranking video in a couple of weeks, so we don't need to worry about it, but I did want to just talk about the things that, if you're like, I wonder what Judith read this year, that would be worth me picking up. This is my list. I'm sorry so many of them are sequels. If you have made a top books of the year blog post, video, whatever, link it down in the comments below, or just let me know what one of your top favourite books was. I would love to hear it. I do have to approve links and comments, but I'll approve them. It's fine. Let me come check them out. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated, and there is loads of awesome content coming your way. I have such a huge plan for this year. I'm really excited about it, so you will want to subscribe so you don't miss any of it. You can also follow me on social media. Come hang out on Discord, where sometimes you get the sneak peeks and things early. If I remember to post them, I may give a big sneak peek to this list. I haven't quite decided yet. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. Come here, stack of books. This has tea on the back of it because I spilled tea coming up the stairs. That was well done of me. Never mind.